What's up, guys? We're back in the shop working on the 914 once again. I've sort of been hammering away at this thing this afternoon. It's starting to get dark and I'm just now recording. I've sort of just been doing some boring stuff. I put the CV axles in, little stuff like that to get it closer to driving. But my goal for today or tonight is to have this thing moving under its own power. Not necessarily driving, because I don't have my computer with me to put a tune on it. And it's not really drivable as it sits right now. But I want it to move under its own power, hopefully. Or at least move a little bit, okay, under its own power. A couple feet is good with me, okay? So last episode I finished up like the cooling system on it, so I need to fill that up. I also need to wire in the alternator. The CV axles are in, and I did a little work on the shifter cables to where they're good for now, so I can shift and everything. But before I do any of that, I'm going to gusset up that clutch cable bracket on the car. I know a lot of you guys, or a couple of you guys, had some concerns on it being attached to the car versus the transmission. I'm going to see how it goes being attached to the car, because the transmission is solid mounted to the chassis, so there shouldn't be a lot of movement in between the tranny and the chassis itself. If I do have issues with it releasing just due to, shaking, then I'll have to just build a new bracket that attaches to the transmission. But for now, let's gusset that thing up and get it solid. So the clutch cable is gusseted. I'm currently bolting in the shifter again, so I can shift it. All the shifter cables are all hooked up. Both axles are in, tightened down. I connected the throttle cable. I don't know if you can see my foot in there, but I now have throttle. The stock throttle cable actually just hooks up to the throttle body just fine, so that's nice and simple. Let's see. Clutch feels good. Shifter feels good. What else do I have? So the engine and tranny are all bolted in now, nice and tight. So I'm going to fill it with coolant, which may be an interesting thing to do because this is not the highest point in the system. This is about even with the top of the block, which normally isn't an issue because you have a hose coming off the top. But this hose comes off the top and then goes straight down. So I think I'm going to have to add a fill port to the top of the engine as well, so I can fill it here and fill the whole tube system, and then fill the top of the engine and fill the entire engine with coolant as well. For now, I'm going to fill the engine by disconnecting the hose on there manually, and then just slipping it on. So I'm going to get a small air bubble, but it'll work for now. Alright, I'm going to go around, make sure all the lug nuts are on, because right now I only have like one or two on per wheel and they're all barely hand tight. So I'm going to do that because I know otherwise I was going to forget about it and then, lose a wheel or something when I get too excited. So I'm going to actually get the wheels on this thing. Alright, I'm going to slide the seat back into its rail and then start it and see if I can get the wheels to spin, make sure I can get it to go into gear before I put it on the floor, just so I don't have to jack it back up when I inevitably have to mess with something in order to get it to work. But everything else seems to be good to go. It's got coolant in it, axles are in it, all the wheels are bolted on. Everything's wired up. Everything's out of the way. All the shifter cables are good. The clutch cable is good. So yeah, I'm just gonna put the seat in it real quick. Wow, these seats normally have sucked in the past to slide around. A little bit of grease goes a long way. Alright, ready to start the darn thing. Gotta put the ECU in it though. So I think the battery's just too dead to fire it over. I'm gonna pull the battery out of the other car. Need tools. Still rolling. Alright, let's see. Got power. ECU's got power. Contact. Whoa. Okay, so it's in neutral and the wheels won't spin. What? You know, I'm wondering if these axle nuts, because I use them to pull the axle through with an impact, so I'm wondering if these axle nuts are sort of like an old Volkswagen Beetle where you have to leave a little bit of slack in them for the wheels to be able to spin. Weird, but that's how my bug was, so. Well, now it spins. Wait a minute, let me look at this. This is weird. Let me see if the other side spins. See, the other side's tight too. Not really. Alright, I loosened them up. Let's see what that does. It's getting late too, and this car is absurdly loud, so I'd like to get done pretty soon with seeing if this works. Neutral. Ah yeah! Got wheel spinach. Alright, it's going on the ground. It's driving. Let's go, let's go. It shot a flame, by the way. Where's my jack? Alright guys, so this is technically going to be the first drive of this car since, since before I started making videos. I don't remember if it was running when I started making videos, but this is so exciting. I'm going to freaking get it to move like 5 feet, and I'm going to be so stoked about it. Sweet. So, I officially have a car that is engine swapped and actually drives itself. Finally! It's been way too long. Way too long. I don't even care. I'm gonna drive it some more. In here. Because that's how excited I am. Even though the battery came unhooked. Alright, I'm satisfied. So what does this mean for videos from now on? I still have a few things I need to do to the car before it's really roadworthy. The fans still need wired in for the cooling system. I'm gonna tap a hole in the water crossover pipe that goes across the top of the engine and put a little fitting on there so I can fill coolant from there, because this just isn't working. Just so I can get the system done with no bubbles so that I know that the cooling isn't an issue, because since this car was air cooled originally, it's sort of goofy trying to get the cooling system to work because it didn't have one originally. Making sure it cools correctly is like a big focus of mine, because I don't want it overheating and I don't want to be cooking engines and stuff all the time. Once those are done though, essentially I can go out and drive it. Obviously the tune is totally jacked up. As soon as I give it any throttle, it just wants to die. But that's just because it doesn't have a tune on it. I haven't even touched it yet. I modified it to get it to start and idle, and that's it. So get the tune to where it'll actually let me give it some throttle and drive, and then I'll go out and drive it. Megasquirt's tuning software, Tuner Studio I think is what it's called, has a auto tune function to sort of get it close. So I'm going to use that to get it close to what it needs to get to, and then I'm going to modify it from there. Before I really start tuning it though, it really needs a wideband oxygen sensor. So that's probably going to be one of the next things I do, is figure out the fans and that modification on the engine to get coolant in it, and then add a wideband into the standalone so that I can actually monitor my air-fuel ratios. That's going to be it for the night for me. Like I said, my goal was just to get this thing moving under its own power, and it just did. And I'm super stoked about it. It feels really good. The clutch feels good. The shifter feels okay. I mean, it's a custom cable shifter, and there's a few sections like the mounts that I can stiffen up a bit by adding gussets, and that'll take away some of the slop, make it a little more precise. But it feels good for now, totally good. I'm just so excited to have this thing running because all my buddies are going up to the track on the 9th, and I probably won't be getting this out there just because it's all the way down near Pueblo, Colorado, and I'm up in the north end of Colorado, so it's like a 2.5, 3 hour drive. And that's pretty nerve-wracking to just drive this thing down there after doing all this modification to it and stuff and not knowing what could go wrong, and then driving it on the track and then driving it back. Just the chances are too risky. I would have to trailer it down there, so chances are I'm not making it down there. However, there is a track up here, the one that I actually had the footage in from this video, or maybe it's over here. Still haven't figured that out. But that track is close by and open every day, so I can go by there, do some shakedown days with this car, which is super exciting. So I can actually break something and not have to be hours away from the shop. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on this video because I know you guys are just as excited as I am if you've been watching for a long time, because I've made 31 or 32 videos on this thing and it's just now driving for the first time since I bought it, basically. So that is awesome. Leave a comment on here. Let me know how long you think it is before I'll actually have it out on the road. I'm curious as to what you guys think versus what sort of my plan is in terms of time right now. And subscribe if you want to see more. I still have a ton to do on this car. I've got a ton in plan for it that you guys don't know about, and I'll be taking it to the track and stuff and driving the crap out of it and recording it all and showing it to you guys. So subscribe if you want to see any of that. That is going to be all from me. Thank you all for watching again. I love you guys. Peace.